Work tends to ebb and flow. Sometimes there are busy times, sometimes there are slow times, or rather, sometimes there are busy times and sometimes there are even busier times. But either way, there are going to be times that are slower than others. And these are some times that can be really useful because you can use them to set yourself up for success, for a little less stress during the even busier times. And that's what today's episode is all about. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. Often it feels like work is never ending. You're stuck in overdrive, working hard to complete that project by the deadline. Or you've got a million projects at all different stages and you're moving as fast as you can, trying to keep all the balls in the air. It doesn't seem like it will ever let up. But in most workplaces, there also comes a time when the workload begins to ebb just a little bit and you can take a deep breath and pull your head above water, even just for a moment. And when that happens, it can be hard to know what to do with yourself. You're so used to go, go, go that you need to take a beat and figure out what to do with yourself when you aren't fighting fires. Now, holiday season is upon us right now, and this is often one of those slower periods in many different workplaces. Not in all of them, but in a lot of them. People are out of town, annual reviews are taking place, there aren't a whole lot of deals being made. Your calendar might not look as much like a brick wall of meetings as it usually does. But often you look back at those slower periods from the middle of a busy period, no doubt, and you feel like you didn't exactly take advantage of that time. So, I want to share with you a number of different ways that you can make the most out of the slower times so that you can set yourself up for success during the even busier times. Now, the first of these ways is to use the time to do some purging or decluttering, right? Clear off your desk, put everything in its place, put that extra stapler back in the supply closet where it belongs, straighten, neaten, tidy, and toss. You could also remove paper, get rid of all that paper that's been accumulating. File, scan, shred, all that stuff. You could unsubscribe from all those marketing emails that are just cluttering up your inbox and not really providing you with any value. Or you could even try a tool like unroll.me to streamline that whole process. Now, number two, you could organize. So you could digitize. Now, have you still got a lot of paper hanging around? Well, it's never been easier to digitize. Most printers have a scanner. And if you don't have a printer, I know a lot of us don't, you probably have a phone. And if you have an Android, you can scan directly to PDF to the Google Drive app through the Google Drive app. And if you're on iOS, then there are plenty of great scanning apps. There's ScanBot, there's Scanner Pro. Those are both really highly rated and they connect directly to Google Drive, Dropbox, etc. Now, you could organize your digital files. So, if is your desk kind of a mess of document icons? Do you have a folder structure that has a huge miscellaneous folder in it? Do you not have a folder structure at all? I mean, that's okay. That's totally okay if you're a searcher and you're able to find what you need. But if you're not able to find what you need, then you could clean up or create your folder structure, give those docs an easily findable home. Now, I know a lot of us search, but sometimes for certain things, right? For things that you really want to find again, we want to make it easy, we might want to rename those. Now, you could also organize your email. Again, a lot of us, including myself, we just search, right? But maybe you are someone who really likes to have some organization in there. You could add labels or tags or folders. You could take some time to clean them up. If you have a bajillion email folders and it's just causing you so much decision fatigue every single time you go to file an email, but you really feel like you need to file emails, what about reducing those folders? What about having just some top level folders so that you don't have to make so many choices? Now, you could also organize by preparing for your performance review. You could create an email label or a tag, call it performance, so that you can tag anything you want to include in your annual self review. Kudos from other people, emails that you send to yourself to remember your accomplishments, all that kind of stuff. If you do this right now, it is going to make next year's review so much easier. Now, third, you could tackle the backlog. You could get to inbox zero-ish. It's elusive. I know, inbox zero. And I say inbox zero-ish because it's never going to stay there for long. It can feel like an overwhelming feat, but you can do it, right? I have so many clients who thought inbox zero was something that not only was insurmountable, unachievable, but that they weren't even interested in it. People who have 150,000 unread emails in their inboxes, no joke. But if they can do it, you can do it. And there's no better time than a slow period at work to make it happen. Now, I have a lot of resources about how to get to inbox zero and to do it without spending all your time in email. You can check my YouTube channel. You can check my blog. There's lots of resources about how to do that. You could also schedule a productivity power hour or a power day. And this is something we can do to tackle the backlog. So when you've got all these tasks, like we all do on our list, that just aren't really as important as the rest of things, but those things can start to pile up because they really do need to get done, schedule an hour or even a day and just knock them all off your list. This can feel so good to be able to tackle some of that backlog. Now, you could also spend some of this time to reflect. Reflect on the busy period that you just emerged from. What practices or habits made that busy time feel even more overwhelming? What systems seemed, I don't know, rather inefficient? On your most stressful days, what was going on? Take the time to really think back and figure out what you can do now to help yourself later. Maybe you need to improve communication with a certain team member or coworker. Maybe your information or resources weren't always up to date. Reflect on the challenges so that you can work on the solutions. Now, you can also use this time to do a little bit more reflecting very specifically on goals and priorities. You can start to think about what's next. Not what do I have to do today, but what do I want to do over the next few months or even the next year? It's hard to think about the future when you're treading water in the present. But now you've got a little room to think. So think, what do you want to do or learn or become over the next several months? Do a little research to figure out the next steps and make an action plan. Figure out what you need to do each day or each week to make your goal a reality. If you have a big decision on the horizon, well, start a list of pros and cons. Put your thoughts to paper or digital paper. Start narrowing down the options and pick a direction. Use this time to set some goals and priorities for yourself. And lastly, how about using this time to relax? Now, I know I said I was going to give you some tips about how to be productive during the slow times. So maybe you're thinking, what's she talking about? But taking breaks has been proven to help us improve both our creativity and our productivity. In fact, I wrote a whole blog post about this, so I'm not going to rehash it all here, but I will link to it below in the show notes. And honestly, rest, it's important in its own right, not just as a pathway to greater productivity. You deserve rest. You deserve relaxation. It is your right. So bask a little bit in the slowness, take a deep breath or a walk, because you know that the busy times, they're right around the corner. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with somebody who could use a little less stress in their life. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're excited to take action or you need a little extra support, check out the free resources available on my website or schedule a free consultation call with me. You can do both of these at alexishasselberger.com. See you next time.